Well, hello, fellow hackers. My name is Trent. You're listening to Never Seen It. I'm sitting here with my wife, Betsy.
I don't have a cool hacker name.
And we're going to watch another hackers movie. Today, we're going to watch the 1982 classic movie,
They tell me it's a classic.
Tron. Betsy, neither of us have seen Tron.
Yeah, we're 2 for 2 on the hacker movies that you and I have not watched.
We haven't seen any of them,
yeah,
of these four.
Spoiler alert, guys. We have not watched any movie in our hackers series.
And full disclosure here, last year when we did our Decades series, when we watched a movie from 62, 72, 82, 92, 2002,
so on and
2012 and 2022, we had a list together of a whole bunch of different movies. This was on the 1982 list, but of course, instead we watched E.T., because of course it was E.T., and I hadn't seen it.
It was probably the right call at the time, but I am glad we are finally getting around to this one.
We had to put Tron into something. And
somewhere.
Here we go. So, I've always wanted to watch Tron because a lot of people really like this movie. I don't know how much of a hacker movie it is, but it's always included in this category.
In those kinds of lists. Yeah. I don't think I had heard of this movie until I was in high school, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's one that didn't really do well, as far as I know, at the time, and it's just kind of grown into this cult movie.
Yeah, and I think it is a Disney movie. I know it's on Disney Plus.
I know the new one is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
But I would have to look into it to know if the first one is.
Yeah. We were calling this a hacker series. I know Tron has a lot to do with early computers and like cyberspace, back when cyberspace was a new concept.
Well, and this was, at the time, at the forefront of what they could do with computer animation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like computer effects added on after the fact. And you know, it was very much a visual masterpiece of the time for 1982. Like, you weren't thinking about computer like animation or computer effects,
especially
at all.
Going into a computer, which is what's happening here.
Right.
And I'm sure it's gonna look fucking terrible.
Who knows? I mean, for the time, you have to put yourself in that mindset at least.
Right. At this time, they weren't doing this. If they were, it was at a very, very small scale. They hadn't gotten to a fully animated movie yet. And
it was not until another decade down the line.
This is as close as I think it had come to doing the majority of the movie with computer animation.
Yeah, and we've kind of dabbled into a few movies here where they were made in the 80s and you had a little bit of computer effects added in after the fact, but not nearly as much as Tron did. So, Betsy, we're kind of talking around this here. Obviously, we haven't seen the movie, so what do you know about it other than what we've already said?
I know surprisingly little about this movie.
Same.
I want to say there's something to do with a father-son, maybe, but that might even be the new one. I'm not really sure. I could be mixing them up. But like somebody goes into the simulation and they have to go rescue them, ?
I don't know.
And there's like lots of racing, maybe?
I know the term light cycles.
Okay, yeah, those things.
Yeah.
Those are the things I've seen. And just that kind of costume where it's sort of a unisex gray suit with weird highlighted areas.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. I really have no idea what this movie's about.
I have 2 words for you, Betsy.
Uh-oh.
Jeff Bridges.
Okay, yes, Jeff Bridges. This is probably the earliest I will have seen him, because I don't know that I've seen any of the movies he made in the 70s yet.
Yeah, and he started, he is one of these Nepo babies.
Oh,
because
yes.
his father was very famous in like Westerns, right?
He was kind of broadly famous, but I think he mostly made Westerns, yes.
Also because, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, that's all they fucking made.
That's what you made.
But yes, Jeff Bridges is the son of a famous actor, and he was on the come up, and, you know, he paid his dues. He did the shit movies, and he did a lot of even popular movies that, I mean, even to this day, Jeff Bridges is a guy. I mean, he's an Oscar winner, for fuck's sake.
Eventually he got to be.
Yeah.
But he had to do Tron first.
So, I mean, other than what we've said, I know nothing else. I know light cycles. I know they go into cyberspace.
I don't know anyone else in this.
Yeah, the outfits that you mentioned, I think there's like some like arcade game stuff at the very beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Other than that, I got nothing. So, Betsy, let's go and watch Tron from 1982. We'll be right back. And we are back. That was Tron. Betsy, did you enjoy your visit to cyberspace?
This movie is bad, but also this movie is incredible.
Yeah.
So I understand how this movie has the reputation it has, because in 1982, this is the absolute brink of what they could do. And there were people who clearly were smart enough to have the vision and the forethought.
Yeah.
But people were clearly not ready for this.
Yep.
And it bombed at the box office.
It really did. So much so that so it was a Disney production, so much so that the original Disney production house that made this movie did not make another live action movie for another 10 years.
Yeah, and they used to do it a lot, like the 60s and 70s. There's a ton of these live action Disney movies.
Yeah, because Disney was kind of on the outs. Like, they were trying to find another outlet.
These are the dark days of Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Walt Disney wasn't dead yet, but other people were kind of running the company. Mm-hmm. They hadn't had a hit in a long time. Like, we talked about it when we were watching Gremlins, I think,
yeah,
where Disney just was trying to do anything to stay afloat. So this is a really out there movie. It's a big gamble, and it could have paid off, but it was about 10 years too early for people to be ready for it. And this is also the problem of the movie itself. This is clearly where they knew what they could do, and they just sort of threw a story in around it, because there's almost no story to this.
Yeah, there's barely any plot to this, and even like the resolution, like the finale, is just kind of nothing.
The plot as it stands is mildly incoherent. Like, there were portions of this where I was like, wait, what?
I mean, the real crux of this movie is intellectual property theft.
Right.
That's what this is.
But they don't get to that right away.
No.
And there's also an evil AI, but also this company makes video games, but they make computers, but they also can digitize.
They also have a
living
giant
creatures.
laser.
The laser. We'll get to the laser. But yeah, why do they have a laser and computers and video games? What the fuck company is this?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing is he's trying to hack into the system because he was fired by this company after his boss stole all his work and took credit for it.
Yep.
And the proof that he gets is a printed piece of paper.
It's priority one, Betsy.
It does not have any sort of special
it's underlined.
Watermark.
It's underlined.
It's not on their official paper. Like, it's just typed words on a grid matrix printer.
Anybody could have typed that and printed it on their dot matrix printer.
So I'm just looking at this going, that's what this is all about? We're just going to prance about in the cyber world for an hour plus for this. Okay. All right. Cool. So,
but the movie itself, like what you're looking at here, is eminently impressive. I am blown away. If I saw this in 1982 and I was, a youngster, my mind would have been blown by what I was just looking at. And I mean, they did so many camera tricks. They shot the live action scenes in cyberspace, or whatever you want to call it. They shot it in black and white initially. So the characters on screen that you have their faces are all black and white. There's no color to them whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It is all of these other camera effects and film effects that they do after the fact to give it that that red and blue glow to their suits and the environment and everything else.
And those are actually really old, like Hollywood tricks. Like they
Yes.
literally have to go in and kind of hand paint every cell to make it do that.
And
but
I read they had to like overexpose some of the film stuff. They had to run it through the machine like 26 times, and it's a big undertaking that they had to do here. And like we said, the film bombed, and a lot of the Disney studio employees didn't even really want to work on this movie because they were afraid. They were afraid of digital stuff taking their jobs. And you know what? They were right. About 20 years later.
We don't do hand-drawn animation anymore because it takes so much time and energy. But this was still where it was the tipping point where it took a lot of bodies to do hand-drawn animation, but it took 560 some people to make this.
Yeah.
And even now, it takes hundreds of people to fully animate a movie.
You ever go to a Marvel movie and go through the credits, see how many hundreds of people work on these movies?
Yeah, it's obscene. So I get why they would be afraid of that and refuse to work on it.
Yeah.
And anyway, it bombed, so they probably felt pretty safe.
Yeah.
But again, this movie is clearly ahead of its time.
Wait until another 10 years later when a little company called Pixar came and just fucked up everybody's shit.
And then suddenly it's all anybody wanted.
Yeah.
Like it became so passé to have a hand-drawn animation, which is really devastating because it is a beautiful medium.
It is.
And it is a dying art. There's just not that many people that do it anymore.
That's the thing. Schools and like art colleges and things like that do not teach this anymore. The people who know how to do it are almost all dead.
Or very retired.
The classic animation people are pretty much all gone. There's only a few people left working in the industry, I should say. Working in the industry that came up doing all this stuff. Think about The Simpsons. They started in the late 80s. Not long after Tron came out, and when the transition started to happen to digital, that show was one of the last animated shows to convert over to digital. Because the animation house that they were using is a Korean company, they didn't know how to do digital stuff. But now that company doesn't know how to do the old stuff. It took a long time, but they eventually got there.
Honestly, I was kind of thinking about The Simpsons watching this because I thought of that episode they did where Homer goes into the computer.
Homer cubed. It's a Treehouse of Horror skit.
But this is totally the style where you know what everything is, but it is the most rudimentary, basic form of those items. Like everything in here being on a grid, I'm sure was a simplicity. Like instead of let's have it animated in the negative space where we have to get rid of all these lines, let's just make the lines part of the game.
Exactly.
But
and that's how they made real games back in the day. Like you had to be really, really creative with the primitive hardware that you were working with.
Right. And the way they tie it all together with this plot is, like I said, almost incoherent. So Flynn designed these games. The master control AI is like hacking into the Pentagon and shit like that.
Oh, he wants to.
But when they're trying to find the data, it's so confusing because it's like, wait, are we going into your video game? Are all programs just connected on a network? Because you didn't explain any of this.
Well, and you have programs here that are from, like, there's an actuary and there is a compound interest program and all this stuff that I have no idea where it comes from. And I guess that's the point. The master control thing, the whole crux of his thing is he's trying to bring in all sorts of different programs into
to get
himself
smarter.
to be smarter.
Okay. Well, it's very badly explained because
it is.
He is this evil force that we don't even understand is evil until a little ways into the movie.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk in here about, like, computers and the future of technology and how computers will become smarter and then they'll do the work and people won't. And you started screaming like, it's the future.
Yeah, I said it is the foreshadowing of our AI future, our AI nightmare future, or something like that.
I don't know. I've seen the commercials they're making lately, and they're not. No, I'm not worried yet.
No.
I'm really not. Why does everyone have two arms that bend in both directions?
Betsy and I got onto that. One of the image generating things that Bing uses. And you can make some really fucked up images on that thing. It's fun for a while if you happen to be a little creative and can put a couple of words together that don't go together.
But you also kind of have to acknowledge that AI doesn't understand theft, so there's a whole lot of like gray area in the developing stuff.
We're glossing over the fact that it is taking all of this logic from copywritten images, but then again, we have gone so far beyond copyright at this point when it comes to videos and music and images and everything else. If it's on the internet, it's just freely available.
Yeah, you put it out there. Too bad. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah.
But then there's also, like the modern, like the chat. What is that? Chat GPT. What is that called? Yeah. I'm not with what the kids are using these days. But it's
what the kids are using to do all of their homework.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So there's versions of it that we have hit. But again, that was 40 years ago they made this movie.
Yeah.
And they're talking about it. Which says to me the people who made this had at least a fundamental understanding of technology and where it was going.
Some of the writers, they actually went to school for this kind of thing. They were very much into computers and the future of technology. Like back in the 60s, they were all doing this. So that was their inspiration, and they put it all into this movie.
You know who I think was inspired by this movie? The Wachowskis.
Yeah. They even say the word Matrix in this movie.
They do. And I'm just watching it going, a guy gets uploaded into a computer. He's got this kind of savior thing. Yep. There's this mythology of the users that is treated like a religion where they're like, give up that superstitious belief and I'll make you all heroes. But they have to play in a game, but then there isn't a game. Like, it's just so weird. But yes, I kept thinking about that.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes a whole lot of sense because down the road, we haven't seen Speed Racer yet, but I feel like that's another kind of one of those drawing inspiration.
Yeah, it's
movies.
A combination of a lot of different things. Because Speed Racer, I think the original cartoon came out in the 60s. It's got that kind of a style. We haven't seen the newest Speed Racer movie from the Wachowskis, but still, like, that stuff is very, very stylized, and eventually, yes, we will watch that Speed Racer movie because we hear it's really good and we haven't seen it yet.
But if you plant this firmly with when they would have been growing up, this makes a whole lot of sense.
Hell yeah. Well, speaking of inspirations, I got a whole lot of Star Wars vibes out of this.
I was getting Star Wars too.
Betsy, this movie only came out 5 years after Star Wars, and it's all over the place. It is in the computer screens. It is in the music. I got a lot of like the kind of background Star Wars music, not the big epic John Williams stuff. It is the little tiny moments, like when Tron is on the outside of the ship near the end of the movie. It's the very like idle music and like
it's the transitional stuff,
the flourishes that he did in Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's all over.
Anytime you have like the fucking like swipes where we're changing settings, and it's just that kind of low woo woo dude. I was getting that all over this movie. So I totally understand that reference. And this was obviously a very big budget production because it's Disney. I mean, Jeff Bridges, I don't think he was a star.
No.
But certainly he wasn't a nobody. He had been involved in some movies that
he's also
got
a name.
Success. Yes, he was a name that people knew. Nobody else in this movie, as far as I can tell, was famous in 1982.
Not famous, but we did recognize one guy.
Yeah, the Dillinger guy.
Yeah.
Is from Titanic. But I've never seen him young and skinny this.
He's the bad guy's like bodyguard. He's the
Cal's bodyguard.
He's the guy who locks up Leo down below.
It's true. Yeah. That's the guy.
Yeah.
This movie also features Journey. There is an original song
1982
in this
Journey
movie by Journey, one of the biggest bands of the 80s. But again, I think 82, they would not have been that famous.
No.
I think they didn't make it until the mid to late 80s.
No.
So this is a production that had a lot of time and effort put behind it. And someone believed in it. But I just keep going back to the people were not ready.
Yeah, and I think it really goes back to the fact that this movie was made for fucking nerds. It was made by nerds for nerds.
But the thing that saved it is that the nerds did find it eventually.
They did, and I read something that said the arcade games and like the Atari games and the early like actual video games that came out as an inspiration from Tron made more money from those sales than they ever did at the box office.
That makes sense.
That's crazy.
Well, and it was the height of arcades, like early 80s. That's what everybody did.
Very much featured in the actual movie.
There were real
Flint
games.
has an arcade.
There's a fucking Pac-Man in the game that they're in.
Yeah, there is a Pac-Man thing on the little screen that the Dillinger avatar is looking at. There's even Pac-Man sound effects.
Oh yeah, you can't miss that. I was just like, why is there a fucking Pac-Man? Because I didn't see Pac-Man first.
You heard it, but I saw it on the screen. We had to go back and I showed it to Betsy. But yeah, like just talking about video games, like this is also very much inspired by the whole video game thing. Like light cycles, that is based on a very old game called Qix, Qix, where I don't think it's much of a two-player game. It might have been. I don't know.
Or you're playing the computer or something.
You could be playing the computer, but you are two lines, you're two dots really, making a line, and you have to fill in gaps. And if the other player runs into your line or runs into your square, they die.
There's so many games like that from this era, or even like this early cell phones with games like fucking Snake.
That's that.
That's what that is.
That's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But they also have the tanks. So that was an early Atari game. Geez, I can't remember the name of it, but
we'll call it Tank, but it's with a T and Q.
I think it's called Combat. It was one of the original Atari games.
Okay.
Where like they have these big ass tanks and you are controlling them and you go around shooting other tanks. So, and I think the only other game that they kind of depict here is very unique. It's the one where they're on the 2-round floor discs thing and they're holding like the highlight scoops. I don't know what the hell you call them.
Highlight scoops.
Sure. But,
scoop hands.
Yeah, they're using the highlight things and it's kind of like a 3D Pong, but there's the thing on the ceiling that you can bounce things off of. And the idea here is not only to just like hit the other player, but when your ball hits the ground, each little ring around the dude disappears. And if you don't hit the guy, that's fine, as long as you're hitting the discs around him and make him fall.
Because there ain't nothing underneath that.
Yeah.
We're floating in space.
I thought that was really unique.
There were a lot of cool sequences in this, but again, it's just we could do it. Not that it had any relevance to anything happening.
Not at all.
And this movie gets such a bad rap because at the time, you know, I just looked up, it got 2 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that it didn't get nominated for the technology award because it didn't exist yet.
No. There was a special effects Oscar, Betsy, but the Academy disqualified it because they said at the time, you used computer graphics, that's cheating.
That is ridiculous. And then you go 10 years into the future and Jurassic Park exists. Yeah. And then a couple years later, you've got Toy Story. And these movies start picking up every single one of these awards.
And then another 10 years later, you finally have the actual Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Now, animated, you could take that a lot of different ways. But the first animated feature to win was Shrek. In 2002?
Oh, yeah,
for a 2001 movie?
They didn't have that award until the 2000s.
Yeah, you went from like 94 Toy Story all the way to 2002, and you didn't have an animated category.
Well, and even Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast got nominated for Best Picture because they didn't have anywhere else to put it.
Right.
And if they had that category, it probably wouldn't have gotten nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
throw him a bone kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I don't really like how the Academy has done that. I think if the movie is good and it came out that year, it should be eligible for whatever.
Up got nominated for Best Picture.
Did it now?
I believe so. I'd have to go back and check, but I'm almost positive it did.
Okay.
So yeah, we've come a long way.
I mean, people were talking about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio possibly being nominated for Best Picture last year.
Yep.
It won for Best Animated thing, and he got up on stage and started talking about animation is film. It is art. You motherfuckers, you need to start putting some respect on animation.
It's a lot of work and creativity, and it's another thing that this movie and a lot of movies just get grouped into, oh, well, that's just for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just discount it. No, these movies sometimes take more effort and more creativity because you have to create something from nothing.
Oh yeah, watching Tron, I can see that this was effort because not only are they animating the entire scene, they're filming it, and then they have to splice the live action into the animated, and they're like hand coloring over everything.
This movie might have had more post-production than any other movie at this time. Probably. Up to this point, yeah.
And the fact that it is, I would love to know more about how it lived on. Like, if it was just the nerds, the guys who thought this technology was just the fucking coolest thing they'd ever seen, showing it to their friends, if it was like midnight showings, or what it is. Because the fact that almost 40 years later, they got a sequel.
Yeah.
That is bonkers for a movie that completely bombed so bad that they re-released it and it bombed harder.
Yeah, the year after that, yeah.
And you've got Jeff Bridges, who's doing his level best. He's adorable in this movie. Like,
he's got great hair.
33, dimples, great hair. Like, he looks awesome in this.
Yeah.
But he's
even took his shirt off.
Yeah. He's also just being given this material to work with.
Yeah, he did his level best, like you said.
And we get to however many years later, he's got an Oscar and he agrees to do the sequel.
Fuck yeah.
Trent, I said when this movie finished, because we were watching this on Disney Plus, it immediately suggests Tron Legacy. If we were doing a podcast, I'd be like, fuck it, hit play. Let's go. Let's watch the next one right after.
Yeah.
I'm on board now. And it would really be an interesting experiment to watch the sequel because it's so drastically different. All of these contextual things about how the movie got made and how it was received and the work that went into it and was unappreciated.
Yeah.
To 30 plus years later, the best technology, Oscar-winning actor, big score, big production, fucking glorious 4K.
Disney.
Yeah. The rebirth, the alpha and the omega of animated films come 2010.
Yes. And speaking of like how this movie lived on, Betsy, this was one of the only movies that got a big release and actually was really successful in its Laserdisc release.
Oh, God.
Because again, all the fucking nerds
Your cool
demanded
uncle
it.
who wanted
Yes,
the toys.
Exactly.
This was the kind of thing you wanted to watch.
Exactly.
It was interesting.
Yeah. And they even included, there was a cut music piece that was supposed to go over the top of the light cycle battle, and they put that into the Laserdisc version.
I didn't know about Laserdisc until I was in high school because I didn't know anyone who had one. And then I was hanging out with my friend at her house and she's like, do you want to watch a movie? And she gets this fucking like vinyl record size thing of a movie that I knew.
Yeah.
And she's like showing me how you had to like dump it in there and like line it up. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? What is that? I had no idea. I just completely missed that boat entirely because I went from VHS to DVD.
So did I. And I would have been the kid that would have wanted a Laserdisc, but like you, I didn't know they really existed until I was about in high school. I think I might have been a freshman or a sophomore. I cannot remember, but I was in some class and they were going to show us a video of some kind. I can't remember if it was a movie or an educational thing. I do not remember. But I know that it was on a Laserdisc. And it was the first and only time I had ever seen it in person at that point.
Yeah, that's the only time I ever saw one. I don't know what happened to them all. I don't know how I missed it completely.
Yep.
But you're right. This is exactly the kind of movie because at the time, it was the best quality you could get.
And there's like some controversy here because the only like quote unquote digital release of the original Star Wars trilogy that was unedited by George Lucas was actually released on Laserdisc.
So the people who have pirated it.
When people have put out digital versions of that movie, it is a pirated ass version from Laserdisc.
Just give the fans what they want, George. Put your ego aside.
George has no control over that anymore.
We want okay, well, Disney, I know you have this flagged because everything Disney is important.
No.
Listen to us.
Betsy.
We want the original unedited cut.
George Lucas has destroyed all copies of that movie. You're never gonna see it.
George Lucas is a monster. There, I said it. An egomaniacal lunatic. Yes. Out to ruin the fans' dreams. You know why? Because it's a fucking kids movie.
It is. It really is. Well, another kids movie that I also got some vibes by. Did you also get some Wizard of Oz vibes?
Yeah.
Because, damn it, when all three programs were like escaping this city, let's say, they're looking off into the distance at the I/O tower, the input-output tower, Betsy. Because I'm a big fucking nerd. I got like, we need to follow the yellow brick road to the Emerald City.
Well, and they're in like an actual city, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And there's people, I don't know why they did this. It was a weird choice. There's citizens, just kind of people hanging around, and they're all dressed in this really accentuated way where they're all dressed like computer parts. Like if you've ever looked at the motherboard of something, how they all have like rubber tipped wires and different little plugs and sprockets.
They look like resistors and
yeah. So all these people are standing around dressed like that, and it's a single shot, and then that's it.
Again,
it's like the overtime Emerald City, the citizens of Oz, you know? And then there's a giant floating head.
Yes.
The menace.
The master control dude is this spinning head that is controlled by, I don't even know.
The man behind the curtain.
Right. So again, it is very much the Wizard of Oz thing.
And when they defeat him, he goes back home.
Right.
Which, by the way he gets into this game is they show this girl at the beginning working in this factory, science lab, computer place. We don't really understand what it is they do here. And she's at her computer.
They digitize oranges, Betsy.
They have a laser that is pointed at her computer. And you go,
desk.
Gee, I wonder what's gonna happen later in the movie when he sits right down in front of the laser.
No, Jeff Bridges is going to be spread eagle on that chair.
Limbs akimbo. And yeah, they took him all, zapped him into the game.
Yeah.
And then he escapes the game because he dove into the computer?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
They did not go into that at all. I feel like they just kind of wanted to end the movie.
No, and there's like a love triangle, but not really.
Yeah.
Like in real life.
And
Flynn,
in cyberspace.
So Flynn and this girl used to date, but now she's dating this other guy. But then they all are in the Wizard of Oz version of this. That's another Wizard of Oz thing where there's like two versions of everybody.
Yep.
At the end, they kiss. She kisses Flynn, but then she kisses Tron.
And Tron had never kissed anybody before because why are programs kissing, Betsy?
Number one, that. And number two, why are you kissing him?
Why are they kissing?
Why?
Why?
I know that wasn't grammatically correct, but that's how I feel about it.
No, it doesn't have to.
Why are they kissing?
Why are they kissing? There was the only thing that I just yelled at the screen, no, you should not be doing this.
Also, I didn't know Tron was like a program and a person.
So I did know that, but only because I've seen things about this movie. And I'll tell you this, Betsy, I have a unique story about the name Tron because I used to work with a guy at the job I currently have. He was working there when I started. His real birth name is Tron.
It's not short for anything.
Nope.
It's not a nickname.
Nope.
It's just Tron.
His
Tron.
name is Tron, and he was born well before this movie was ever made.
And I'm sure this movie made his life very curious.
I'm sure it did. I never actually sat down to talk to him about it.
Because you know that he's probably sick of it.
Right.
And you don't want to be that guy, the
Right.
500th person in his life, to be like, oh, like the movie? You like computers? No, fuck off.
Right.
Well, Tron, if for some magical reason you're listening to this specific broadcast, which I doubt,
I very much doubt
given
it.
what we just said, please enlighten us. We'd love to hear your
Tell
tale.
us the story. We love you, Tron. Well, besides that little story, Betsy, did you have any other things to add on to this? I only had a couple things.
I mean, we watched this, I assume, in 4K because it looked really good.
Yes, it did.
And there's a couple of moments. They don't spend a lot of time in the real world, but when they do, I think they make good use of it. So the first time we're introduced to the bad guy, he is at night in a helicopter, and the helicopter has red neon lights on it. And so it's very evocative of the inside of the game, but in the real world. And they do that a few different times. So like when they're driving to hack into the computer, they're following a truck, and all the trucks have like lights on them. So there's a lot of red neon throughout the city.
And the city, like you said, is represented a couple of different moments in the movie at the beginning and at the end, where it's just kind of evoking the cyber world and everything else.
So somebody was thinking about this when
Yeah.
they directed it, when they were
Yeah.
filming it. So I appreciated that touch.
That helicopter looks so fucking cool.
That was awesome. Never mind the fact that at the end of the movie, he's just suddenly the boss and he flies in the daytime.
Right.
I don't know.
That sucked.
It's like, oh,
Here comes the boss,
Here
man.
comes the boss. End of movie. Fuck you.
Right.
Fuck you. There's also a scene right at the beginning where Dillinger goes into his office and he has this big touch screen desktop computer.
That was one of mine. Think about that. 1982. You have this big glass surface that you just, in 2023, you don't think about somebody just typing on a virtual keyboard, on a touch screen. That's beyond any kind of comprehension in 1982, but now it's a commonplace thing.
Well, yeah, I didn't even really think about it. I was like, yeah, he's got one of those touchy computers in his desk.
No, he does not. And the thing is, talking to him, they're having a conversation. Yeah. So many things we take for granted now was just mind-blowing back then.
I do love when we watch movies from the past, predicting the future to see how they did. Because some bad, real bad, way off. And other times like this, where it's like slick and glossy, it's completely believable to the point that I didn't even really react to it. I'm just watching a movie where, the guy has a computer in his desk. What?
Yeah, the last movie that we watched that I would say had a lot of things like getting really close was Total Recall. That's also in the future. That's like going to different planets, but some of the technology is spot on.
Yeah, this one, it's a little bit silly, most of the movie.
It is.
But
that's not why
that
you're
one
here,
they
though.
got.
That's not why you're here, though. It is the crazy effects. It is them going into the computer world.
It's
and
them having fucking frisbees attached to their backs.
literal frisbees. That wasn't something they just made for the movie. They painted frisbees.
Nailed it.
Well, to bring it all the way back around to why the hell we're doing this here series in the first place, let's talk about the hacking, because there was hacking in this movie. Not much.
At the very beginning, when we are introduced to Jeff Bridges, he is this guy in his apartment, and he is typing codes because back in those days you had to like type the command, say, enter this, do that. And we're getting the combination of his simulation in the computer trying to access a file.
Yeah, and I don't know what he is actually seeing on the computer. I don't think he's actually seeing anything except for the text that he's putting in. And the representation that we see is like the computation happening in the background. So it is just a visual representation of this hacking program that is going into this network and trying to get in to access this data. And the battle that is happening with the tanks, I guess, or something, is the network fighting back against the hacking program.
But is it really hacking if he is an employee, like a former employee who had access? Like he knows where to go. He's not supposed to be in there.
Well, Dillinger did something to that data to hide it. So it is hacking. He is trying to get around a protection system, I guess.
He's trying to get the files, Trent. They're in the computer.
They're in the computer? But think about this, though. He's at home. He's at his arcade/apartment remotely trying to get into the system. How is this a network? How does he have a connection at home to the work network?
How does he have a computer in 1982 in his home? Like, not a lot of people did.
You're right, but that's not that uncommon.
For the argument in this movie, this man who runs the arcade has a computer.
That's essentially a workstation that he brought home with him, but you can buy one of those workstations from anywhere.
Okay, you're not supposed to get to keep the equipment when you're fired.
You're not wrong.
But yeah, they have to go to the actual building for him to be able to access the network.
Yeah, the other Hackerman guy who made the Tron program also has, like, they have to access it by, like, going one level below, and then his Tron program can override a bunch of stuff. And it's really weird. Like, he finally gets to the Emerald City, and he uses his disc to interface with the input-output tower.
Oh, it's so badly explained.
All he has to do is hold up his disc into the light, and he's finally talking to his user, and he overwrites the disc with the hack program to throw into the master control thing physically and have it be not there. Betsy, this doesn't make any sense, but
there's so much of this that just doesn't make any sense, but they figure because you, the audience, in 1982 doesn't understand computers,
that
nothing. You'll just go along with it.
Right, you know
nothing. And assume
nothing.
We know what we're talking about because we know more than you.
Yeah. But overall, as a hacker movie, I think it's okay. I mean, the concept of a hacker in 1982 was, I don't know if it was scary or impressive.
I believe...
Or both.
I believe that there's hacking in this movie. However, I don't believe it as a hacker movie per se because he gets into the computer by the magic laser.
Laser. Frickin' laser beams, Betsy.
And that is not a way to hack.
Okay, Betsy. Well, I think that's about all I can take about Tron right now. But we would like to hear from you. What did you think about this movie when you saw it in 1982? Because so many of you people were alive and conscious about movies in 1982.
Or at least in the 80s.
Yeah. Have you seen this movie? Did you like it? Are you a hacker? Do you play old arcade games?
How's the sequel? Is it worth our time?
Yeah, tell us about that. So email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Speaking of old video games, we got an email about the movie we covered in our video game series, the 1993 classic?
The movie that exists.
Super Mario Brothers. Not the new one, the bad one. From Stephanie. She says, so I definitely watched this way back when I was a child. Wow. It was pretty dumb, and I'm pretty sure I liked it, but there was a lot that you talked about that I had no memory of. Well, and of course, this movie is not available anymore, so you can't go and rewatch it.
No, they don't want you to get it.
No. She says, I was never allowed to have a game console, but my aunt and uncle had a Nintendo, so we got to play a little Mario Brothers. Then at one point, the husband and I got a Wii, and we would play Mario Party drunk. Very fun. Yeah, I had some friends when I was a kid whose parents, they did not get down with video games. They either already had an experience with them with an Atari, and they didn't want to have another situation like that where the Atari just died off and they stopped making stuff for it, so they didn't want to go down the road with a Nintendo. And some of them just thought, nah, it's gonna rot your brain, it's gonna waste your time, it's gonna do all the negative things.
Go outside, you dumb kid.
Yeah, so I get that, but then again, you also had, aunts and uncles and other friends and cousins and whoever else had the fancy video game systems and everything else that you're not supposed to play with. And
the glove.
Babysit. I mean, shit, I said my story about my babysitter introduced me to the Nintendo when I was 2.
Yeah. You were being entrusted to that person,
That's
and
right.
they gave you a game you didn't understand.
They it instilled in me a hobby that I have to this day.
A frustration that you still have and continue until this day.
That's right. But yeah, the Wii was very much a good party game thing where you got a bunch of friends over and played Wii. I didn't do a lot of that back in the day because I was busy working all the time.
You were a grown-ass man.
Not really.
You weren't in the house with your parents anymore.
No, I that had long passed, but still. Yeah, Wii bowling and Wii tennis and all that stuff, that's all fun. Back to the email. Recently, we have been watching some horror movies. Stephanie, it's April.
She loves a horror movie.
Every 6 months, you have a marathon.
One of these days, Trent, we're going to have to let her, and I know she's listening, so we're going to have to let her make the series for us.
Dictate a series for us? Oh, man.
She can curate a horror series that she thinks we'll appreciate. She's listened to this enough, she would know what we'll like and not like.
Well, you put it out in the universe, so I guess it's going to happen.
Yeah.
She says, we watched The Hallow. Not The Hollow, The Hallow, which is an Irish film, and fae creatures are coming after a family. Okay?
All right, then.
It was okay. Then we saw We Go On. It's about a guy that has a lot of phobias and decides to research the afterlife to try to get over his fears.
Okay.
So, thinking to yourself, okay, dying is probably worse than being afraid of things?
I guess.
Is that it?
Until, what I assume happens is the afterlife finds him.
She says, it is funny in parts, scary in parts, and I loved his mom. Okay. And finally, she says, finally we watched Deadstream, which is a really funny, low-budget, found footage movie. Very fun. I didn't think they still made those movies.
I don't pay attention to everything that gets released, especially if it's horror, so yeah, I don't know any of those movies.
Have you ever seen Blair Witch?
No.
I have not.
No, Trent.
Oh, fuck. Never Scream It is coming soon enough. Maybe we'll watch that. She says, I also watched Bros, which is an LGBTQ rom-com. It was okay. Billy Eichner's character is super unlikable, and his love interest is honestly kind of boring, which is a running joke that other characters call him boring, except that it's true. The dude is dull, but at least he's nice. Love you guys from the one and only superfan, Stephanie. I added that last part.
Yeah, I know of Bros. I have not seen Bros.
Yeah, I think it got some mixed reviews. Some people really liked it and others didn't, so.
Well, it's that kind of thing where everybody's talking about, oh, this is a movie specifically targeted to one demographic in particular. Well, and then a few months later, Megan comes out, and that's the movie they liked more than Bros.
I take umbrage with that because there are plenty of movies that are targeted for that specific demographic. They just don't get wide releases.
Fair.
They get put out on Netflix, they get put on Hulu, but they never get like a theater release. Bros was that movie. That was the bigger budget movie that got released.
I appreciate that it exists. I just haven't watched it yet. Because we don't go to the theater as much as we maybe could.
No, but we will be going to the theater quite a few times in the next few months.
There's a lot of stuff coming out this summer, Trent.
Yeah.
Summer movies be back.
Yeah. Well, again, if you would like to be like our superfan Stephanie and all of our other emailers, you too can have your email read on this show. Email us your thoughts and your feelings and your questions. Throw us a question. It doesn't have to be about this movie.
Your
Just
dreams,
ask about
your hopes, your wishes.
Ask us about anything that you want. Give us a topic. We'll talk about it. The email address is neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Go to all of our social media stuff. All the links are in the podcast description, along with a link to go to our Spotify page where you can give us some money to help support the show. And while you're there, go into your phone, go into the app, scroll down to the main page of the show, and rate us 5 stars. It helps make us discoverable to a lot more people, and we would very much appreciate all of that.
Aren't we worth 5 stars to you?
They're free. They're just giving them away. Don't give us 1 star. Give us all the stars. All right, Betsy, we have 2 more hacker movies yet to go. We're halfway there. Our Wednesday movies are going to be randos. We don't know what those are quite yet, and you'll find out when we find out.
We're really good at planning.
It doesn't help when Betsy has other extracurricular activities outside of this podcast that cause us to have to do 4 movies over a course of a weekend.
And then none for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Production is a weird thing, guys.
That's right. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this here show. Betsy, thank you again for being my co-host today and every day. We will catch you next time on Never Seen It. My name is Trent.
My name's Betsy.
We'll see you later.
Bye.